What's up, guys? I'm back for another video. This time I'm gonna be taking my crank to the machine shop. It's cold as hell outside, so I don't know if I'm gonna be doing much on the engine today. So pretty much I'm just gonna be taking the crank out and run it to the machine shop. The thing is, it's the weekend, so they close at like 2 o'clock, and it's already almost 1, and it's like 27 degrees outside, so it's kind of cold. So being in Texas, not used to this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and I guess take this crank out and put it in the back and run to the shop so they can get it polished. The block actually is fine. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's still crosshatched. So once I get the crank out, I guess I could show y'all what the block's looking like. So I don't really need anything done there. I just need a new set of bearings and to get the crank pretty much fixed up so I could start assembling that again. Guess let's jump into this and start taking this crank out so I can run to the machine shop before they close. I got the crank out, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it in the bed for now, but I'm going to actually put it in the truck when I'm actually driving there. I'm just going to cover it with like a plastic bag so it's not going to start leaking oil everywhere. So, I mean, it's already out. I could just yank it out now, but I'm going to put it in a bag. That way I don't mess up my fresh interior. Yeah, let me I guess I'm gonna run it to the back and then put this bag over it. Alright, so I got the crank in here. And it should be ready to go. It's an old bearing that I don't really need. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna throw this girdle back on just so, you know, everything's in the right place. And then I can head out and get this crank polished. I don't need it anyway. Fuck. So I got the crank in the car, or in the truck, so now gonna head to Blaine's so you get the crank polished. Alright, so I just got done taking the crank to the machine shop. They said it'd take like until Monday, so today's Saturday, so I guess 2 days. I think they're closed tomorrow. So I'm just gonna wait on them to bring that back, and then we'll work on ordering the crank and the piston that I need. And after that, I could start assembling it and put everything back together. I'm still waiting on someone to weld that engine bay, but I guess now that I wait and I could probably get this stuff done, why not have the engine done and then work on the bay before I throw it back in? So, I'm working on that now, and I guess I'll catch back when I'm picking up the piston from the shop. What's up, guys? So it's been a minute since I recorded, and I know that it's been about like 2 weeks. So ever since I dropped off the crank to the machine shop, 2 days after, it started snowing in Texas, which is kind of wild. So The machine shop obviously wasn't open for that because all the power was out. We didn't have electricity or nothing, so the crank's still at the machine shop. This is 2 weeks later. I'm still waiting on a call back. Probably tomorrow I'm gonna call him to see what's up. But for right now that I'm waiting and I don't really have anything to do right now, I'm gonna check the ring gap on the pistons, because all the pistons are fine. There's nothing wrong with them, so I'm gonna reuse the pistons, and I gotta replace this rod because it's really discolored, and I don't want to throw a rod out of the block, so I'd rather replace that than worry about that. And yeah, all the pistons look fine except for this one, so probably gonna have to buy one piston and one rod. But while I'm at it, I'm gonna swap pretty much this rod to this piston, since they're alright, but it's just this combo that's messed up. So what I'm gonna do right now is take these rings out, put them in the cylinder, and check the gap on them. And if they're the same spec as when I ground them down, I'm gonna just run them. And if not, then I'll get some rings. I have some extra ones that I didn't ever use right here, so that's dope. Well, I got 3 sets of rings, so if 3 out of those 4 are bad, I could replace them. So I'm gonna just get started on that, throw them in here. And I'm lucky because I thought the cylinders would be bad, but they're still cross-hatched and perfect, so that's good. The top is just combustion where the piston doesn't actually lay on, so I'm pretty happy about that. So I just have to get the crank back and get that piston and rod, and pretty much I could get this going pretty quick. I do have some ideas for the head, not that one, but I do have ideas for the head, so that should be pretty dope. I want to get some springs and retainers, just for drifting wise. That way I don't got to worry about it like floating a valve or anything. I haven't had an issue with it before, but rather safe than sorry, and kind of like car parts. So I guess let's get into this and start checking these rings. Start with what is this? This is the top ring. So I'm just gonna put it in there like that. Put it down there. Then I'm just gonna put it down here. That way it's like flush. Probably gonna have to. Alright, so it's flush in there. So I'm gonna get my gauge to make sure that it's within spec. So I got this. Should probably wipe these off. It's kind of wild that they haven't called me at all about my crank, and it's been like 2 weeks. And I know they're back open, but they haven't said anything yet, so whatever. Hopefully everything's good. Last time they called me before they did anything, and it was they said apparently it was grounded down more than I thought. So they said they had to weld the crank and then grind it and polish. So we'll see how that goes. So I just got done checking the first piston, and it's 0.025 for the bottom and 0.021 for the top. I might have those mixed up, but pretty much that's in spec that I had it before, so I should be straight on that. And that is the sketchy piston that I didn't know if was good or bad. So I should be good. I'm gonna check the rest of them, and I guess after that I'll catch back with y'all. Alright, now that I checked and made sure that all the pistons and rods were good and to spec, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take off the pistons and the rods on the damaged ones and pretty much swap them around. That way I have one good set, so I can get ready to purchase the correct one. The reason why I'm taking it off now is so when I pick up my crank from the machine shop, they could check the weight on that rod to make sure that I have everything in balance still. Alright, so I got both of the rods disconnected from the pistons, so now it's time to put the good rod onto the good piston. So I took this all the way out, made sure not to damage the locking pins. So I'm gonna lube this up and put the piston back into the rod. So now that the new rod is on the good piston, straight there, I just gotta order one of each one of those. I do gotta take this to the machine shop so I can get it measured, so I know when I call Eagle Rods what weight to give them, so they could just send it over and I could just throw it in there once it's here. So guess that's it for right now. Don't really have much to do left here. Like I said, I'm waiting on the crank. I'm also waiting on someone to weld this. Today I made a mock-up of the whole design that I need for this. That way, once I find someone, I could just chop the sheet metal, drop it in, and all they gotta do is weld it, and that's it. So I'm just pretty much waiting right now.